Hi everyone! It is 4 o'clock and we know what that means. It's time for Wonder Sparks DIY puppet craft. Woohoo! All right. Hi everyone, I'm Christina with Wonder Spark Puppets, and it's 4 o'clock, and that means it's time for our DIY puppet craft for today. So, all this week we are doing Passover and Easter themed puppet crafts for you. We've had some really great, wonderful ones so far. We've had our leaping tabletop froggies, we've had our wild beasts, and today we're making this very cool, very creepy, crawling bug puppet. And this might be another great addition for those of you celebrating Passover. For the Seder table, this could be your plague of lice. Ooh. So this one actually really crawls along and moves on their little track. And to show you that, I'm going to bring in a helper of my very own. My personal assistant Z also had an assistant yesterday, so I'm going to utilize mine as well to show you how this very cute little creepy crawly works. Assistant! Oh, assistant!
Coming!
All right, everyone, welcome our assistant. This is Jim. Say hello.
Hello.
Okay, so we want to anchor the one end of our puppet so that it can really crawl along. So that's what I'm going to use my assistant's hand for. There you go. So now once we have that end anchored, we can separate these two pieces of the string, pull them apart, and our crawly bug puppet will crawl along. And then we can bring them back together, and our puppet will go back down, just like that. All right, so this is a really nice one to have an assistant for, or a helper, or a sibling, somebody around. This is a nice thing to do with another person. Thank you, assistant.
You're welcome.
Can you close the door?
Okay.
Okay, thank you. Okay, great. So that's why I like this one, is because it's a nice one that you can do with someone else close by. So let's get started. So we have our supply list for today. First of all, we will need some, let's move my sample here. We'll need some construction paper. I use black. You can use whatever color you want. And I also have some little pieces of blue here. I'm gonna make the legs a different color just because I think it's a little drab if it's all black, but that's just me. So I have some black paper as well. We're gonna need a pencil or a white crayon. Since I'm using blacks, you want something that shows up if you want to trace or color on that construction paper. We will need some scissors. We will need a glue stick. We'll need some tape. We'll need some yarn or string. And as I already said, some crayons, either for tracing or decorating for drawing eyes or any other details you want to add. I think crayons might work best for this since I'm using a dark color, but you can use whatever you want. All right, let's get started. So the first thing I'm going to do, as you can see on my sample, I used black for the body and for the head. So I'm going to do that again. So for the body, this is a really easy way to do it. You can just fold your paper in half, like so. Doesn't matter which way, you don't really need a whole lot. But I'm gonna draw kind of a like dome shape, and that will be the body. I'll use my white crayon so you can see what I'm doing. Kind of like that. So that when I cut it out, oh, and I used the fold as the edge, the folded side. So when I cut it out, and I open it up, kind of makes a nice little buggy body shape. Nice. All right, and now for the head. Let's see. You know what I did before? I used, hang on. Not a toilet paper roll this time, but a paper towel roll. But I'm just gonna trace this side just because I think it's a good size. You can freehand draw a circle if you want, or trace something else round that you have around, but I'm just gonna trace this to make the head of my creepy crawly insect. And again, I used my white crayon. So there we go. See, I traced it, it's still not even perfect. Look at that. But that's okay. Does not have to be perfect. We're just gonna cut around the outside. Great. And set that aside. So now I have the body and the head of my crawling lice bug. Ew. Okay, so now I can just take my glue stick and glue them together like that. So I'll do that now. I'll just put a little spot of glue here at the top. See how mine's a little uneven? This side is kind of rounder and this side's more pointy. So I put the glue here at the top. I'm gonna leave the pointy end for the bottom. And I'm gonna glue the head up here at the top. Just like that. All right. So now I'm going to make some creepy crawly legs. So once again, if you saw my other creepy crawly puppet, it worked a little bit differently than that, but I like these accordion folds for the legs. I think it's really fun, so I'm gonna use that again. So for this puppet, I have some just little pieces of blue paper, just some little scraps, some rectangles, doesn't have to be very long. And I'm just gonna cut those into strips, like that. And we are making insects today. So they have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 legs. So that's how many strips of paper we're gonna wanna cut. So I have 2, 3, oh, I had one more here, 4. If I cut this in half, I will have 5 and 6. So now I can make my accordion fold for my legs. And this can be a little tricky, but once you get the hang of it, it is pretty easy. So we're gonna keep a little square like this and then fold the rest over. And about the same amount, I'm gonna fold it over toward the other side. So we're just folding back and forth about the same amount every time. Like that. So when you pull it apart, it makes this fun little accordion shape. All right, so one more time. You just take a piece of paper like this and fold it over and fold it over the other way, and there we go. See, mine's not even that even, but it's all right. You still get the same effect. So I have a few other legs that are already pre-made. So I'm just gonna grab those right now. Let's see here. And let's get one more. So now I've got all of my folded legs. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So now I'm gonna glue my little crawly legs to my puppet body. And I'm gonna glue on the back. So you can still kind of see the white where I traced. So I'm gonna make this the bottom of my puppet so that you don't see that little tracing line. And I'm just gonna glue all of my legs onto my puppet. So just the last little fold here, I'll put a little glue. And I'm gonna start towards the top, like that. So I'll do one towards the top, one in the middle, and one on the bottom, and I'll do the same on the other side. One close to the top, one close to the middle, and one close to the bottom. So that is how I'm going to space out the legs. All right, so I've got one side done. I did one close to the top, one at the middle, and one close to the bottom. And let's do the other side. Basically the same idea, one towards the top, one at the middle, and one at the bottom. There we go. So now this is the underneath side. This is the belly of my puppet. And on the other side, that's how it'll look. Very nice. Nice and wiggly. Okay, so now let's put on our eyes. So what I did with my sample is, you all know, I have a big pack of Googly Eyes, but right now I'm gonna show you how you can just make your own very simple eyes. So kind of the same idea as last week we had the big bad wolf. I'm gonna take just a sheet of white paper or construction paper, and I just made a little fold. This is actually the same sheet. I just make a little fold towards the bottom, and then I'm just gonna do a little half circle. Something like, I'll show you. Something like this. I'm gonna make it smaller than last time because my puppet is smaller. Something about like that. And then I can cut that out. Whoop. So now I have the white part of the eye. And I'm gonna do that one more time. I'm not using a pattern, so these eyes may be slightly different sizes. But I think that makes a puppet look even cuter if they're a little unique. So I have my the white parts of my eyes, and I'm going to glue those on with my glue stick to the head of my puppet. Like that. There's one. And here's the other one. Let's put it like this. There we go. See, they're slightly off. One's bigger than the other one just by a little bit, but I like it. And I'm just gonna take a marker, just a black marker, or you can use your crayons if that's what you have out. Doesn't really matter. And I'm just gonna draw the pupil, which is the black part of the eye. So that's an easy way that you can do eyes if you don't have googly eyes on hand, which not all of us do. So there, I just drew a black circle in both of those white parts and made some little eyes. Okay, so now let's work on turning our crawling bug friend into an actual puppet. And for that, this is what we need the straw for. So I have a plastic straw here. I will go ahead and open it actually. Just like that. So if you have a straw like this, you're just gonna wanna cut two parts, maybe like 1.5 inches, something like that, about equal. Just something that'll fit on the belly of your puppet. You're gonna want 2 of those. Now, I have a straw here, but I'm not actually gonna use it for my puppet because I have these little cardboard tubes on hand, and I always save these. These are, fun fact, these are from my little doggy bag rolls. So I have Peach here with me, if you can see her, taking her nap. Right there, she's snoozing away. So these are the bags that I use when she has to go outside and do her business. So I always save these little tubes from the bag roll for crafts. They always seem very useful. So that's what I'm gonna use today. If anybody out there has pets and they have these little tubes, this is a good use for them, I think. So that's what I'm gonna do. So I have 2 of them right here, and I'm just gonna glue them side by side, or actually I'm gonna tape them. I think the glue is maybe gonna move around too much. So I'm just going to tape them basically side by side on the underneath part, the belly of my puppet. And I'm just using Scotch tape. I found that that worked for my sample puppet, so I'm going to do it again. If you want to use something stronger, like some duct tape or something, you can, but I found that Scotch tape works perfectly fine. And I'm using 2 pieces, just like that. So I taped one across the top, one across the bottom, just side by side, like that. Great. Or like I said, if you have a straw, you can just cut 2 little pieces off of that. Or if not, if you have some cardstock or something like that, or a scrap of construction paper, you can just roll it and tape it or glue it into a little tube. Let's see. Like that. And I'm sure you could use that and it would be perfectly fine. So now we need our string or yarn. So I'm using blue yarn this time because I made blue legs and I want it to match. So you want a fairly long piece for this. So I'm going to go kind of the length of my arms 2 times. Not the full length. Maybe like that. And I'll cut my yarn. Okay. So I'm going to put the thread through one of the tubes and then back down through the other side. So let's go through one side. The nice thing about these tubes is they're small, but they're wide. So the yarn goes through pretty easily, which is nice. So I've got my yarn through one side and I'm going to pull it through a little bit. And now I'm going to go back down through the other tube. Oop, I just pulled it out. Right like that. Now I'll push it all the way through. Just like that. So on one side you see we have a little loop, and then on the other side we have our 2 loose ends. Now, if you want to, on these ends, so they don't get pulled through the tubes, you can tie some, beads to the ends if you want. But I'm just going to tie a couple of knots. Or if you want to, you can even tie them together, but I think the puppet works a little better if you keep the 2 ends separate and you just either tie a bead or tie some knots at the end so they don't pull through the tubes. So I just did 3 knots kind of right on top of each other. I'll do the same on this side. Someone's playing some music out there. One more time. There we go. So we've got some knots just to keep our thread threaded through the tubes. And now our puppet is basically finished. So, as I said, it works better if you have either someone holding the end or you can loop it around something that's close by. And then you can pull these 2 strings on the end apart, and that's how your puppet will move along. So, just real quick, I'm going to tape mine. If you don't have somebody around, I'm just going to tape the end of mine to the table here so I can show you once again. So I've got the looped end anchored to my table with the tape, and I could take my 2 loose ends of the string, and if I pull them apart like this, my puppet will move along across the string. You can pull it back and do it again. Let's do it one more time. So you can either do it just straight like that, but I like shaking it a little bit so that those legs really get going. All right. So I hope you enjoyed making your crawling bug puppets. I think these are really fun, and I think it's also fun because you can play with it with someone else, so they can hold the end and then you can switch off. So thank you so much for joining us. Once again, we're Wonder Spark Puppets. I'm Christina, and we do these DIY puppet crafts every day, Monday through Friday. It's oh, thank you. Somebody just said thank you online. Thank you, Julie. You're welcome. And so we're here every day, 4 o'clock, Monday through Friday. And then on weekends, Saturday and Sunday, it's at 10 a.m. So we're here every single day bringing you DIY puppet crafts for you and your family. If you have a puppet that you've made that you really want to share with everyone, we love seeing them. So tag us, post them to our Facebook page. We love seeing your puppets. And also be sure and check out our website. We are wondersparkpuppets.com. And from there, you can find out all kinds of information about what we have going on. We have some really cool merch, really good stuff, t-shirts, stickers, tote bags, all kinds of cool stuff. So you can get your WonderSpark swag. And then we also have a membership program, which has a lot of cool perks. There are 3 different levels that you can join. If you go to our website and you click the support button at the top, you can see all the different levels of membership. Super affordable, super easy, and you get all kinds of perks. You get extra discounts on our merch. You get extra raffle tickets for a chance to win a private live streamed puppet show. You could have weekly puppet chats, all kinds of cool things, and you could also have longer access to our live streamed puppet shows. Last thing is that we do live stream a puppet show every single Friday at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So that's always available to you. Look out for us Fridays at 11 a.m. We're always live streaming a puppet show then, and that'll be up and available for you to watch for the entire week until we do the next puppet show. So thank you everyone so much. We look forward to seeing pictures of your puppets, and have a great afternoon. Thank you.